So, the monologue. Start there, right? It's the introduction into the series. So, Stories on the Moon is a it's a series of stories told from the perspective of the main character. I do have two versions in mind, but for the first round, I'm going to utilize the first character. I don't know if I'll spoil names yet, but the monologue I want to kick off. So Stories on the Moon is the first entry into the Voyager series. So it's going to be your introduction into what the origins of Voyager essentially is. And there's a lot of twists and turns, but I won't spoil too much. I won't do too much and spoil all that. But to start it off, I think this is going to be a weekly series, so I hope to complete each chapter uh, weekly basis. So next Sunday we'll be starting chapter one. This week we're going to do the monologue, and next week will be chapter one. So and we'll so on and so forth until we have full story, right? So we'll just do it like that. No marketing. I don't even no marketing on that. Just wanna I just want to produce this. I don't want to make this too long. So let's just get right into it. Monologue. It's the only idea that I want to make sense is it's just going to be a sharp introduction to the main character. Um, we'll have the main character and her protege, right? And on the mountain. There, that's the scene. We're gonna set the scene, right? So they're on a mountain, but I want to. It's entering into the scene. They're This is during combat, right? And so it's just going to be a final uh so I guess it's a final training session between the two. That's just how you'll take it. That's gonna be a final training session just for no apparent reason. It's routine. They just routinely do that. They always, uh have these training moments together. They always um she does it and she's does it to hone her skills, right? To hone her protege skills. And it's a short scene. So I don't want to drag it out. I do want it to be described beautifully though. I wanted to uh I want you to feel the presence, of those two locking combat. It's as a student and a teacher. You know what I mean? It's just and the teacher is just proud for how far their student has come. I think that's best way I can. That's that. I just want it just to be a really graceful moment. Nothing serious, but I mean, and to the teacher, I wanted to express just the sheer difference in ability as well too. So there's physical, ability. This is a great difference between that. You know what I mean? And then also technique. Obviously the teachers had much more time to hone her skills than her protege, and so I want that to be noted. Into that, and then moving on from that part, I think what I'll do as I discuss this, I want to break down this points because I think the best way to make a break down eat an elephant, I should say, is one bite at a time. And so with each chapter, I think marking down exactly like how the flow of the story stays on point will be easy for me. So it's I'm gonna write down notes, but training, final training. That's the first part. And then once training's done, I want to have a scene where so like a bath scene, you know what I mean? Like so they wash off the mud and the sweat, things like that. Uh, and then I want them to have like a conversation. It's a present day conversation. You know what I mean? Just kind of talking about how far they've come. You know what I mean? Just really talk about her ability. Like she's just, it's just a level of just proud. It's a proud moment. You know what I mean? It's just like they've gone through so much together. She's learned so much. She's just very proud of her, right? She's very proud of her student or protege, or in this case, it's going to be her daughter. I think I should note that, but she's just proud of her daughter, how far she's come, and it's just this beautiful moment, right? And then after the bath scene, I wanted to come out so it'll dry off, and well, actually, no, I just think that I think the bath scene could be much longer, actually. Uh, I think they'll take a break. I think so. I take that back. So they'll do it. They'll take a break. They'll take a break after training. They'll take a break, and I think I'm gonna have the main character. She gazes out. I wanted to walk to the cliff, and mm, no, actually, which would be better is if after training, right? They putting away their equipment. Uh, I'm going to say I'll have the daughter. That's what I do. So we'll scratch that. So the daughter leaves, after they train, and she leaves in not frustration, it's I would say accepted frustration, right? Like she really wants the best, her mother, and she can't it's she can't at this point it's impossible to do that, so she walks off in frustration. It's not upset, it's not like she's not like pouting or anything like that. It's just more so like you know you were gonna lose, but you're still mad you lost, you know what I mean? So I think we'll do that. And then she walks out, so as she puts away the equipment, she picks up and everything like that, and she eventually, I think the main character probably take a moment to herself, think about a couple things that she's putting away, equipment, and then eventually she'll go out to the mountain cliff and see her daughter sitting down staring at the horizon, and it's a night scene. It's a night scene as well too, and she goes out and she hears um the main character walks pretty quietly, but she's gotten the side character, her daughter's gotten used to it, so she hears her coming, and so she asks her a question, and she goes, I want to say she asks the question. She asks the question, um, were you scared when it first happened to you? No, 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 no. She goes, are you scared? And I want the main character to kind of relish in that question, and just the thought, because you won't know yet at this point in the story, but the main character goes, it's her philosophy, right? It will happen if it's supposed to happen. And thus I am not scared, but I am worried, right? And I wanted to speak words of wisdom. I mean, I don't think that was the best piece of wisdom. It wasn't a beautiful taste of wisdom there, but um I wanted to fill the her daughter with wisdom, just kind of answer her questions, based on her own experiences and things like that. And she takes a seat down with her daughter, and then she asks, "Are you scared?" She asks the same question back, and then the daughter, um, she says yes. She says yes. I think that. This is a scary this is a scary point, right? The ritual in which she's about to commence in has a very low success rate, right? Now, as a reader, you don't know that. So these, I want to, at this point, I want to position things that the characters know that the reader does not know. Because I think in most cases, right, the reader always knows more information than the characters. And to me, that takes away from the thrill of the story, So I want to leave in points where it's the opposite, right? And so, as the main character and the her daughter are speaking, right? Like they know what they're talking about. They know about the situation, but the audience won't. And so they begin to have conversations about it. They talk about um, it's normal to be scared. It's normal to feel those feelings. It would be um, if she didn't have those feelings, she would have never been chosen for it. Because there has to be an appreciation of life. And in order to go through something like this. I don't think that you cannot be detached from life itself, because you have to have the willpower to want to come back. And so they have a conversation, but I wanted to share a moment specifically. I want to insert, a specific moment, and that is the main character's love for the moon. I want that to be a huge I want that to be a huge point, because it's the first indication of the main character's past that you don't know why, you don't know why she loves the moon, but she explains to her daughter, gives her a encouraging, speech and asks her, do you want to know who my first friend was? Um, and she'll say yes, and she'll say, my first friend was my brother, and then she'll say, my second friend was the moon. And in the new life, in her new life, she the first thing she saw was the moon. The first person she ran to was her brother, and those were her first memories of her new life. And she shares that. No, I'm sorry. We'll go back. We'll go back. She'll tell the main character. She'll say, "Do you want to know who my two oldest friends are?" And she'll say, the main obviously your daughter will ask who, and she said, "Her first is my brother." Um, for he has been with me since the day I opened my eyes for the first time. The second would be the moon, which when I opened my eyes for the second time, it was the first thing I saw. And so she proceeds, so they'll have their moment, So I know it'll go a lot deeper. I know we'll expand on that a little bit more, but um, we'll go from there. So we'll go from the cliff scene, and then we'll go to the bath scene. And so in the bath scene, because I want the bath scene a little bit longer. So the bath scene, um, as they're washing up and things like that, the daughter will ask, so she'll say, "Why don't you talk about the past?" And the main character will begin with her story, basically, but she'll note that the past is history, and history is only important when necessary. And so, you know, the daughter will ask, "Well, what was it like when you first turned?" And then that's going to be the first indication that for the that's going to be the first indication for the audience to understand that the main character is not human, right? So that'll be the first indication, and then we'll get into the story, and then so there. I think we'll kind of go is from in these different for the book itself. I think the book itself needs to be broken down in compact parts. So each chapter breaks down certain parts in the story. So the story itself will be essentially condensed, right? And so it'll be touched upon. So just I think just like any TV show or any show in general, right? The story will be told from again the main character's perspective, but you won't get the full vision of the story. You'll only get it from the main character's point of view, right? So you won't understand other elements outside of the story that unfold, right? So when certain situations come up, you won't understand, and some things will be included in there because eventually the main character telling from perspectives as she learned more, she can tell more of the story, but she can only tell what she knows, right? So the story itself has its own individual arc, but that arc will be broken up into several pieces. So with when we talk about different scenes, so we have the training scene, the cliff scene, then the bath scene. The bath scene starts the story, right? And then so going into the story, you have two other scenes. So we're going to get into as an overarching look, the story will be broken down into I want to say three parts. So the cliff scene starts the story, and then when we come back to the present, they will be descending the mountain, and then goes back into the story, and then we'll go into traversing the jungle, making it to the shoreline, and then there's a boat pickup. I just wanted to note that. So to be a boat pickup, and then so those each of those different scenes, so these are the present day scenes that's going to go through it. Now these aren't in the monologue, so the monologue is just the first three scenes, which is the training, the clip, and the bath scene. That's the monologue. Introduces the audience into the story, and then these last four are going to be the narrating arcs, right? So that brings you back into the present, gives you exposition, answers certain questions that need to be answered, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the arcs in the story, I don't want to get into that yet until because that will ruin the pace. But I think for this first week, it will be me writing my monologue, finishing my monologue, and then charting out my overarching narrative for the entire story. And so that'd be it. So that's it for the monologue. I won't go too deep into it. I will overview. I will recap the article. I'll recap the monologue next week, next Sunday, and then we can go over it, talk about it. I don't know why we say go over it, but I'll talk about it. But once the recap happens, I'll talk more about chapter one and my thoughts and vision for chapter one, and then we'll go from there. So.